Greetings. Greetings, beloveds, we come as the elders. We speak with one voice. We are known as the Arcturians, and we bring you the vision. We bring you the image of a sun, a golden sun, with the rays radiating out. That is what you are doing when you radiate out your love, when you radiate out peace, when you radiate out prayers. It is all one and the same. But each beam, each ray, carries its own essence that is drawn from the sun. When you travel up the golden spiral, you are traveling through the passageway to the great central sun, and then through that portal to the highest point of oneness, and yes, that is available to you. But we ask you to come into another aspect, the aspect of you. For the oneness is carried at all times. You are finding ways to be conscious of it, to access the gifts, the powers that you have within each one of you. That power is your will, your divine will, in finding your joy. Think of joy as the sun itself. When you are in a place of joy, whether it is singing or taking care of a child or kissing a loved one goodnight or hugging a tree or creating a story to share with others, you are in a place of joy. That joy has different aspects. When you are in a place of truth, there is joy. It is the truth of joy. It is the joy of truth. When you witness the waves of the ocean coming to the shore and then going back out again, you are seeing, you are feeling. You are being the beauty of joy, the joy of beauty. When you feel the peace of sitting in the sun and hearing the quiet around you, the quiet of the birds singing their songs, the quiet of the trees waving their branches, their leaves, seeing the quietness of the blue sky, you are within the beauty of joy, the joy of beauty. Joy is the center, but it is the one. And what about love, you ask? Love is the fuel that brings the joy. For when there is love, there is joy of love, there is the love of joy. Love is all around you, it is within you, it is in the air. Utilize it. Utilize it to bring the joy that will bring the transformation, the gifts you have been praying for, the gifts of peace for all, the joy of peace for all. Focus on the joy, beloveds. Focus on that which brings thee joy. Find the moments. That travels into the great central sun so that it may beam out to everyone. We leave you with much joy. We leave you with love. Farewell. Severing 10 out of 12 strands of DNA crippled our abilities. Important, this essay is unique and a true eye-opener. Take this info at heart and spread the message. You are one of its kind and far more capable than you think. The true history of mankind. The Pleiadians often tell informative stories to take you to higher levels of consciousness. This time they tell us the great story of the true past of humanity. There is a common story, but here at last is the true and complete story. To tell the truth, and the full story is the reason why they came to Earth. Many magnificent and advanced civilizations inhabited the Earth in prehistoric times. Most of these civilizations were humanoid, but not one of these ancient human races originated on Earth. Today, the wisdom keepers of every culture on Earth tell the same story about their ancestors who came to Earth from the stars. Millions of years ago, small groups of 5D star people migrated to Earth. These first star travelers to Earth are known as the pre-Adamites. They are imposing beings known as the Lemurians and Atlanteans from prehistoric times, advanced humanoid beings from the Pleiades and eventually from the Lyra star system. These first humanoids to come to Earth were Earth's original terraformers. They introduced advanced humanoids, the ancestors of Erectus and Neanderthals, who were later evolved by the Anunnaki into modern Homo sapiens. These original advanced terraformers and world planners left Earth millions of years ago at different times for different reasons and returned to their fifth dimension. Fifth-dimensional humanoid race. These creatures of the stars are a fifth-dimensional humanoid race with advanced knowledge, skills, and technology. They can live for tens of thousands of years in their physical bodies. The telomeres in their DNA never degrade, allowing body cells to copy and reproduce forever. They achieve longevity by drinking the wine of life, fused with their own stem cells, and eating the bread of life, white monatomic gold powder cakes. Some aliens helped genetically engineer the human race, while the Anunnaki later crippled human genetics by severing 10 of our 12 DNA strands, making humanity their slaves. The severed strands have been described by mainstream scientists as junk DNA, so in effect we lost almost all, or at least most, of our abilities and were genetically retuned to produce more slaves, functioning and existing only on our 2 remaining strands of DNA. When all of our 12 strands of DNA are finally restored, we have truly amazing abilities. We will once again be able to use 100% of our brains, according to the original divine design. In contrast, at present the majority of people are only able to access and use 12% of their brains. Certain aliens would love to have our DNA with our creative and adaptive abilities. They envy us for the God spark we all have, which makes us in spirit immortal. As the Bible says, we are made in the image of our Creator God. When Jesus performed miracles, he said, "And you can do these things too," suggesting that humanity could do these things before the Anunnaki enslaved us by severing 10 of our 12 DNA strands. This is why the Cabal put fluoride in our drinking water to calcify the pineal gland in the brain in order to destroy our psychic abilities. We have been living a lie, forced into a belief system. When we learn the truth about our heritage, we move into a knowledge system set in motion by the coming revelations. Interdimensional magic defying knowledge and science. Another question to be answered: how can extraterrestrials, and by the same token, physical spaceships, change shape, as has been observed many times by various spotter experts? These extraterrestrials seem to be using interdimensional magic that obviously defies our current knowledge and science. They can disappear before our very eyes, using interdimensional portals where they hide in parallel dimensions, undetectable to our eyes, like radio stations on different wavelengths. The reactivation of 12 strands of DNA is possible once our planet passes through the photon belt. Question: what can we expect and how does it work? These 10 additional strands are said to have a higher purpose, to intercede the ability of multidimensional consciousness during the natural spiritual state. The ability to awaken multidimensional consciousness and parapsychological abilities, as it leads to the development of a second neural network, which is ethereal in nature. This second neural network allows us to live in several dimensions at once. We can hear, see, and communicate with others in these dimensions. 10 deactivated strands of DNA cause a feeling of isolation from oneness and staying at a low level of consciousness, a low-energy vibration. DNA reactivation involves 9 successive levels, each requiring emotional cleansing and spiritual growth. Activation means turning on 44 DNA codes that were previously inactive. The process of gradually activating the DNA takes place on the etheric level, in the area of the human luminous body, specifically in the crown chakra. As DNA is holographic, it can be altered, connected, and activated even during G life. The reactivation of the 12 strands of DNA takes place in 3 steps. Activation of the crown chakra. You will feel this as an itch or pressure in the crown chakra. It is not the same as an itchy scalp. Activation of the connection to the source, the higher self. Activating the pineal gland. The pineal gland is a universal translator. It receives and transmits from the law as frequency thought forms in a universal language. The progress of activation on a person's DNA can be seen by a photograph of their aura and by the state of their spiritual body in which stagnant emotional or other destructive energy disappears. DNA activation has been projected as a spontaneous process that the entire planet is undergoing, including animals. Our entire solar system and the Milky Way galaxy have now entered a highly charged part of the universe. We are in the photon belt menseric radiation with periods of intense light. We entered it in the late 1990s and will remain here for another 2,000 years. During this remarkable time, the energies of the photon belt are initiating a complete transformation of life on Earth. Photon light energy has the ability to lift all life on Earth into a higher frequency dimension. Our body structures are slowly realigning to match these rising frequencies. We are now moving from a 3-dimensional body corresponding to the atomic frequency and spin of carbon to a 5-dimensional or higher crystalline body called light body, one that corresponds to the atomic frequency and spin of crystal. The bodies of animals, plants, and everything on and in the Earth, as well as our entire galaxy, are also going through the same process. As the process of rebuilding the light bodies continues, we will slowly begin to notice that we are becoming more conscious and multidimensional. When all 12 strands of DNA are finally fully activated, we will experience life in constant awareness of multidimensionality. At this level of consciousness, we would be able to live in the 3rd dimension while maintaining our connections and relationships with beings in the higher realms. We will no longer be cut off from other dimensions as we are still today, but will operate in a state of compassion and unconditional love. At present, most people have 2 active strands of DNA, represented by an intertwined double helix. Some individuals have already developed and integrated 3 or more extra strands of DNA, and a large number of newborn children, crystal children, have many strands of DNA already active since their birth. Each of the 12 strands of DNA represents one of the 12 aspects of multidimensional consciousness. 3 strands of DNA represent and govern the physical body, another 3 deal with the emotional body, further 3 deal with the mental body, and the remaining 3 with the spiritual body. All these aspects are represented in our body and have their own energy and nerve pathways. They are connected and nourished by the body's endocrine system. These glands work in conjunction with the energy centers, chakras, in our body. When all the nerve pathways work effectively with the chakra system, they provide access to the higher realms, leading to the knowledge of multidimensional consciousness. Our DNA upgrade. Many people who have had a near-death experience come back with 3, 4, or even 5 strands of DNA. In Australia, a man who had been dead for an hour and 45 minutes woke up in the morgue, and when they examined him, he had 6 strands of DNA. Nothing they taught us is true. They told us nothing at all about who we really are. The body is the physical form that is the holographic imprint of the soul. When the soul joins the body at conception, it creates a hologram, and that is who we are. We are remarkable spiritual beings stuck in a really evil system, and everyone is beginning to realize this. We see a lot of contradictions now. We see what we don't want. That's one thing, but we have to work on what we do want. That's our real work now. If you don't want a new world order, if you don't want a medical mafia, if you don't want a global government, if you don't want any of that, then you have to decide what you want, and you have to start focusing on that because you are the powerful creators. You really are. We can't create dimensions, but we can create realities. You should know that you can create whatever you want. We have been abused by our ignorance and enslaved by a belief system that has limited our thinking. If you take away all the technology that we use on the planet today and just focus on the psychology of civilization, we are stuck in most cases at the level of the Middle Ages, which is the way we think, the way we treat each other, the way we see each other. We are governed by governmental structures and other kinds of structures that control and manipulate humanity. All of this is done deliberately and intentionally to keep us down, to keep us oppressed, to keep us divided. So those of you who follow the Schumann resonance know that for 10,000 years it was 7.85 𝐷𝐺, and now the new norm is 23 to 28 𝐷𝐺, and it is not uncommon for it to peak above 200 𝐷𝐺, whereas 40 𝐷𝐺, the entry norm, is for the 5th dimension. And whenever that peak occurs, our DNA, which acts as an antenna, begins to expand, then it contracts again, but whenever it reaches that peak, we learn to hold more light within us, and the more light and frequency we can hold, the more pressure is put on our DNA, and that expands as well. So everybody, whether you realize it or not, you are ascending. Even if you don't believe it, your body is ascending because the earth is ascending. The earth is expanding. Open out. It is not collapsing. It is growing to support more people. The earth is not finished with us. We are not its enemies. We are not a virus. A virus is a parasitic alien being to the earth.